My name is Oswald Osaretin Guobadia. I'm the managing partner for DigitA. DigitA is a new practice which is set up to help with your digital journey, your digital evolution. We focus on advisory, policy development, and execution of key projects.
In addition, he was one of the key pillars of the Nigeria Startup Act. It's no longer a bill, it's an act now. And I think right now it should be in the process of adoption by states.
Yes.
And stage 2. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You talked about collaboration and partnerships.
Yep.
And the importance of it. It seems like for the past 2-3 years, everyone has been talking about you go for this event, the next event, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, New York, London. Everyone saying, oh yes, we need to partner and we need to come together, collaborate. What exactly is the challenge in collaborating and partnering? If we've been talking about it for the past 2-3 years, 5 years, why are we still talking about it?
The word collaboration is soon going to get bastardized because, as you said, we keep using it, and I'm one of the major people who's probably going to kill it because I keep saying it. But ultimately, it is the solution, right? What collaboration speaks to is us having a conversation. So maybe we'll start saying, let's have a conversation.
Like we're doing now.
Yeah, like we're doing right now. That conversation will lead us to understanding the perspectives that we both have. So on stage a few minutes ago, I talked about the schism of disruptors versus displacements, right? So if we don't have that conversation, how do I understand what you're trying to achieve? How do I understand the timeline of your value creation, and that I can measure it against the destruction of the displacement, right? To be able to understand where the middle ground is, so I can be patient with you or pull the trigger. Without that conversation, I'm going to pull the trigger instantly. It's going to disrupt your disruption, right? Going to stop your progress. And then we're going to have apathy that is built from that because we just don't get along because you're the person who stopped what I was trying to do. But we find that if we are talking to each other, if we know each other, and this speaks beyond just startups. So I recently attended an event in New York during Hunger 78. And I was asked what I thought about the event, which was Gabi. What do you think about Gabi? And I said, if we don't know each other, if we don't speak to each other, how do we then solve our problem, right? If we continue to solve our problem in siloed manners, we are not solving the problem because we don't have all the perspectives of the problem because it's our problem. You understand? So it is key that we solve the problems as a collective. And that's what collaboration actually means. In
your years of being in the private sector and working on policy and infrastructure and all of that, what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned?
I've done a lot of infrastructure work in over the years. Some very, very impactful, not credited for. But it's not about the credit. It's about the progress that was derived from the work that brings joy. I would say that in understanding that Leapfrog is not an actual thing we should be doing, I hear it from a lot of people. We should be looking at the entire digital evolution and expediting ourselves through it, but not trying to skip steps.
Can you give like an example of what you mean?
So how far can an elephant jump? Nigeria is an elephant. It cannot jump that far. So you hear people say something like the mobile startup was a leapfrog. It wasn't. It was just a startup. They went through every process. We labeled that as a leapfrog, which allows other things to seem like leapfrogs. The truth of the matter is that when we started our mobile in Nigeria in our 2004, 2003, 2005 era, what we did is we started it. We caught up. We didn't leapfrog. We caught up with the rest of the world. And because we had the market, which is what we have, it's sped up and the value immediately became present and understood, right? Now, I'll give you an example. That's what you asked for. I will tell you this. I've said this more than once, so it's not like it's a secret or anything. The blockchain policy, right? So blockchain, AI, these are all new technology. The blockchain policy was printed on close to 2,000 pieces of paper for approval. In there lies the mistake and the gap of what Leapfrog means. If you say to me that you want to do blockchain, there's so many other things that should be in place that would prevent you from having 2,000 pages. And by the way, I'm being low with that number 2,000. If we do the math, it's far more. Think about 60 people receiving 50 pages of paper, you get that math. So if you say to me you want to do AI, right? What are the things that you need to have in place to do AI. You have to have paper, big data. We know we live in paper world, right? You have to have all the data in a data pool. Do we have databases, right? Before you can actually start training the large learning modules, right? So there's a process, and we'll get there. But the danger is when we believe that we can just leapfrog to AI. When we leapfrog to AI, we end up doing things like our data is being digitized by somebody else, not us. We have all the skills to do it. Our data is being stored by somebody else. I bet you 90% of all our startups, their data sits on. Exactly. So these are the situations that arise when you think leapfrog, which speaks to skipping steps. What I believe we should be doing is looking at the development path of our digital evolution. Digital transformation is a trendy phrase, right? Because I asked the question, the digital transformation that's happening in Estonia and the digital transformation that's happening in Nigeria, are they the same digital transformation? No. If you can't make it the same, it means that it is not general. It is more subjective to your situation. And it's trendy because in the 1800s or the early 1900s, the printing press was digital transformation, right? If you look at the life of music, album on vinyl was digital transmission. Was digital transmission.
For them then. Yeah.
Moving to cassette, digital transmission. 8-track, digital transmission. It goes to CD.
VCD,
Digital transformation, right? These are all incidents of digital transformation. Then it goes to streaming. Oh, blow your mind. You can now put 2,000 songs on a device. That is the massive digital disruption. What we should be thinking about is what is the entire lifespan. If you want to study what music did, are you just going to look at 8-track, cassettes, and CDs? No. You do what I just did. You say it was on album, it was on cassette, it was on 8-track or 8-track before cassette, it was on vinyl, I already said, it was on CDs, then it went streaming, is what you would say. That should also apply to our technology, as in we should be looking at our digital evolution. Where are we in the entire
evolution process
to the desired outcome? So it's a longer process than we tend to look. If we take these little snippets, we'll be trying to leapfrog. We'll say, Estonia has good e-governance. Let's leapfrog to them. But you have not put in place all the building blocks to do what they are doing. So let's focus on putting those building blocks in place. Let's do it quickly, but let's do it.
You just talked about the process. Should we determine the end from the beginning, where we want, what we want to achieve and where we want to get to? Or should we allow the process just happen and then see where it gets us to?
This is interesting, but this speaks to exactly what I just said, right? From a digital evolution perspective, you have to know where you're coming from, right? If you were meant to be a butterfly, and you're at the caterpillar and you have not become into the pulpa yet to now become a butterfly, you may want to go look backwards to see what went wrong. Maybe you're not meant to be a butterfly, right? Somebody told you on a leaf somewhere, oh boy, I think you're a butterfly. Meanwhile, you're not. You're a worm, right? The only way you can determine that you're a worm is by going backwards. I'm sorry, my undergraduate degree is biology. So some of my mind processing comes from a biology mindset. We should define what our end is.
Set a goal.
Yes. So we should look at what all the technology is, look at how we can use it to get our own development, and then look at the entire development path that has happened or not happened and see where we got it wrong and do it differently to ensure that we get the desired results. That's classic program management. What's wrong? For instance, when I did the Nigerian Startup Pack, most people will not know this. I talked to a lot of people to see why this never happened before, because this was not the first time it's been tried.
Yeah.
You just never heard of it because he never left the talking stage. He never was really born. It was always stillborn. So why? So you understand the issues with silos. You understand the issues with it being too governmental. You understand the issues. So you solve for those issues, right? So for instance, I told you I just started a new firm. One of the key things we're doing in that firm is we're trying to solve for precision and pace in our development, right? In looking at technology. So when we talk about don't leapfrog, but let's go through the steps, it's actually solving for precision and pace. And the example is already set. If you look at the Nigerian Startup Act, you will see that one thing that was very key was our actions were very precise.
Yeah.
We moved with very strong precision, and our pace was...
The approach was,
So that's just a way to show you that it's possible. And we can do this for a number of things we want to do to get us to where we need to be in our digital economy.